Welcome back to Convallaria, folks. It's been a very hot minute since we've done anything sort of Convallaria related. It is my fault. I will say part of it is because we've just been kind of booked with work slash busy slash things happening about. Don't really have a good excuse. And since all that's been happening, there's just been so much to go over now. Like I feel like I have this huge backlog of things to do that I'm not sure if I can do it all now. I'm packed. I'm stuffed. So we're gonna do our best to do that. Amongst the things that we do want to talk about, and I guess we'll talk about it later, slash we can talk about it in the actual other videos of that type, is like Final Fantasy Tactics. That was released. Super excited. I think as a fan of SRPGs, that is like one of those old games that you sort of like I think should play as like a grandfather to a lot of these SRPGs. It's one of those things that like I've never played just because it was kind of inconvenient to get. For example, I think there's a few on like the Apple Store or like Google Play Store. Like you have, I think War of the Lion, and then like the other ones are part of like the old like PlayStation, but like they're super out of the way in order to play them, right? So having this one on Steam means like it's super accessible, and like yeah, it's just super easy to like jump into. So been playing some of that. But other than that, in sort of Convallaria news, we've got some stuff coming, right? We've had some stuff coming, which is we have your girl, Samantha, Radiance Against All Evil. We end up picking her up. On top of that, we've also got new Tarot Whispers. And honestly, we have been like plowing through a lot of these. I think we've done most of the quests, like one or two I think left we have left. Yeah, I think these are like pretty neat. I don't know how useful they are in the grand scheme of things compared to like the first Tarot Whispers, but we've got new ones, and I just think it's kind of cool because on time with like my previous video where like I think I discussed like the old tarot cards, and like it basically means we have some time to I guess make another tier list. I don't know if that's something people are looking to, but potentially we can do another tier list. So yeah, so we actually want to go over that, the tarots, and then also go over Samantha. On top of that, before any of that, actually, we can go over some of the cooler news. Is like what have I been doing in Convallaria? So while I haven't been playing or actively posting videos about Convallaria, we have been making waves. We have been trusting the process, and if y'all know like what I mean by this, sit back and buckle in. So this is gonna be like a kind of a sweet, maybe 5 or 10 minute gush about some of the characters I've gotten to 5 stars and like the process of getting there, and like some I guess review of the unit really, basically. So of the units that we've recently got to 5 star, first off we have is of course none other than your girl Inanna. So honestly, I was really sort of curious, like, what made Inanna super strong as like a 5-star unit? And honestly, there's just so much to say here. It's definitely one of those units that are like very premium feeling, especially at 5-star. That's probably partially because of like the background, but like considering everything else she's doing for your team outside of like a 5-star unit, there's so much she's offering that you just kind of I feel like take for granted. Like as someone who's played a bunch of units before and like comparing Inanna to that, I'm just like, yeah, you definitely should have Inanna on your team. Like she has been so much worth the time investment in my opinion, that she just does so much stuff. So one of the early things I had about Inanna or thought about Inanna was that like how much is she actually doing for your team when it comes to like support? Like is she just a damage dealer? And I would say yes, she's very strong at dealing damage, but after playing her for a bit and figuring out the usefulness in her actual passive, it definitely comes to show that she's really strong at like also providing energy. For example, a lot of times I would use someone like Coco to provide like as an energy battery, but I'm also seeing that Inanna functions as not only a damage dealer, but like a supportive damage dealer too, with the amount of like utility she offers with her support, just like passively kind of, right? Like she doesn't really mainly do this as like as a unit, but she also does like passively. For example, when you do use her abilities, such as her passive, her freedom stance, this not only gives the unit that she's targeting the freedom stance active, but like the damage up and then also the damage reduction, she also gives herself it. So she becomes a little bulkier herself, but also she gives the unit she's targeting the extra turn to act again too. So not only is she acting again, but the unit she's targeting is acting again, and also they're getting the energy. And I found out about like this whole energy thing is basically you end up being into a point where you kind of just can't go through all the energies like you want to. Like she just has so much, I guess, ways of creating energy, in my opinion, and that I've been like playing through, that I'm just like oftentimes just seeing her capped out at 5 energy. I'm just like, I wish she was at the state where she was kind of like a Kanbei, where you kind of just like have so much extra energy points where you can like sort of bank them for something else, or at least maybe. And this is probably something you probably shouldn't do, or that probably shouldn't do, but like some way of like making her be able to use more energy, because she just always is capped out in all the games I'm playing. She's like literally always capped out. Having like the passive here, her trait, along with something like Light of Convallaria, I kind of like use as a sort of mock to, not in a bad way, but like this is like basically a build your own kind of Gloria thing, where like she gives attack 2 and she also gives up move up 1 and also energy. This is like a super strong way and sort of like keeping that sort of spirit of Gloria in your team. So that on top of having like the passive, giving her act again, it's just so much utility here, and it's just like kind of wild. And it's been like super obvious to like why you want to have Inanna on our team. The only thing I'm kind of curious though now is, because I'm this far with Inanna, is like if I should actually put more money into Dawnlight, the sword. When I say like invest in it, right now I'm kind of just using the Void Stab as a make do Dawnlight. I don't know what the numbers were exactly, but I think like somewhere on Reddit they mentioned how these weapons were somewhat similar, and so I kind of just kept them as is. Wait, am I bugging here? Wait, this is Sword and Pentacle. No, this is Pentacle and Cup. Okay, this is the wrong resonance. It probably shouldn't be this. But I'm now noticing is like I've been probably playing with Sword and Pentacle for a long time. Like it's still probably even unnoticeable how strong like Inanna is. But yeah, so I've been like working with this Void Tap for a minute. Honestly, I really do like it. I do like the fact that like you can pretty easily get this crit damage up to like full stacks, and like it's just doing insane numbers. Yeah, probably Dawnlight is probably maybe a little bit better, but I've honestly really been liking this here. Maybe Dawnlight isn't that good, just considering that like we do have the attack too from the Light of Convallaria, but like it is her signature, and I think probably the devs have adjusted it such that like if you do get 5-star Dawnlight, it's probably better than Void Stab. I don't remember exactly numbers, but like it's definitely tempting nowadays to like try to like invest a little bit into Dawnlight. So I don't know if I'm gonna get there yet. I think this is probably good enough for now, but like it definitely feels good knowing that like, I don't know, now that we got 5-star Inanna, maybe we should, you know, dip our toes a little bit into some Dawnlight action. But yeah, that's where we are currently. She's been feeling super strong. I am still not 200% sure if like Convallaria sword play is like the best route here to go. I think I only put it really here just because it's a good way to expend energy. Otherwise, you don't really have a good use of all the energy. Like for example, I guess you could go something like Cure Blow, but then you're going melee. So that's probably the only reason why I put that here. Otherwise, also all the other abilities I'm using here are very much just like bound by time. So you definitely want to have, I guess, somewhere in here the sword maybe and cup resonance, so you can keep spamming that a little more freely. But even if you do that, like it's still gonna like, you're still gonna be bound by time for the cooldown, because right, like it's just no way of getting past that even with that. That just means you can more freely sort of get those extra double dips and those time bound abilities back to back. So yeah, that's currently where we are with Inanna. Definitely do enjoy her. I'm so curious though if they do continue with like Inanna here, because like they definitely are going to continue with Inanna, but like I'm wondering, are they actually gonna make her a actual full-fledged ascension skill for her? I'm curious, because to me it kind of feels like a avenue to buff older characters, but because the new characters also do have the ascension skill slot, it doesn't. It means like there's definitely like ability to in the future just also add more ascension abilities for like these already strong units. And like I feel like Inanna's ability isn't particularly like ascension skill for her. It's just kind of like a very general ascension skill. It works really nicely for her, but like it's just also not like an Inanna ability, right? So in the future, I'm definitely like feeling like, I don't know, if they put more stock into Inanna, like they definitely should update her ability. I don't know what it would be, because like she's already super strong, and the unified strength already matches so well with her theme. It's like maybe it's not needed. Like maybe they're just gonna chill without that. But yeah, so yeah, Nana's super strong, super cool, super glad that we got her to 5-star. Yeah, I think I've really enjoyed getting her 5-star. She's always doing always carrying the team, honestly. She's like putting in a lot of work. So I guess the only bad thing I will say that I don't like about her is I feel like she doesn't have any damage over time. That's probably the least of my concerns, but honestly, it's just like the only thing she's missing, damage over time. Actually, damage over time and some piercing damage. But I shouldn't say that, otherwise they might come out with a unit that actually does all of that. Okay, cool. So that is Inanna. Who else did we do? So we also end up getting Afra to 5-stars as well. Afra, of course, is one of the love of my lives. She does, I feel like, so much for her team that people just like kind of just like gloss over Afra a lot. For example, she's a healer, but also she's a damage dealer. She's got a lot of piercing damage. She's got Nightmare Puppet 3 that she's able to make good use of. On top of that, making her rank 3 means she can cap out on her Labyrinth of Dreams a little bit more. For example, she now can the damage can also go up to 600% magic attack. So considering that like 100% of your magic attack is just like 4k, now multiply that by 5, you're getting like 20k damage basically maxing, because like this is basically piercing damage. Like against bosses, like you're gonna really feel that. I definitely feel like I felt that when it came to some of the Voyage of Destiny's fights, is that like the damage from the trait has been like really sitting in and kicking in, and it's like you really feel it. Labyrinth of Dreams 2 is like no joke, but also what isn't a joke, in my opinion, on Afra is the range. The range for the extra 1 tile that you get from like 3 to 6, star 6, or sorry, 3 to star 5, 3-star to 5-star. You definitely feel the 6 range. Like there's been times where I'm just like, there's no way this reaches, and I'm just like passively seeing that like, yeah, she's hitting like so many tiles on the field just passively, and like triggering all the debuffs on like all the units I need. Like it's kind of insane how much that 1 tile matters. I feel like it's really big, but I know like hitting 3 stars is also like a huge breaking point. But like the 5-star is also like super strong too. You can definitely feel that. I've also ended up slowly transitioning her to be more of a kind of healer, oddly enough, because of so much damage we do have on the team. I didn't really want to let go of Afro. The fact that she also is passively buffing by increasing our magic defense and physical defense, I was like, she's probably still worth it being on the team. You have like a mana battery, and some more buffs already coming through from Inanna, and having some healing and some also debuffing coming from Afra is actually, I think, kind of beneficial, considering that like, that completely rounds up our team, especially when I think the next unit we're going to be talking about doesn't really offer too much in the form of debuffs. So like Afra definitely closes all our gaps there, on top of like being also a strong damage dealer. So yeah, I don't know if I want to change too much in Afra's build, because she is still kind of like a somewhat damage dealer, but I can definitely see in the future me sort of moving away from Nightmare Puppet. I still think it's like super strong as like a damage dealing option for Afra, but if I do kind of want to keep her as like part of my team, knowing that she's not like the top tier meta unit, like I think she might have to give somewhere in her kit just to make sure that she's like as useful as she possibly can be. And that just might be like removing this with Nightmare Puppet. And if I do move Nightmare Puppet, it honestly might just be like Reorganized Cube, as lame might sound. It could be the Reorganized Cube, or actually it could be the Dream Turbidity, right? Because that also dispels the buff here. But we still have to invest a lot in it if we do want to go that route. So yeah, not quite sure. I haven't really made up my mind too much, but like Dream Turbidity could be strong, or keeping as is, because I guess the best form of support could also be like a support that deals damage and like kills the enemy units, right? So adding the extra debuffs here from the Nightmare Puppet is also, I think, still worth considering as like a supportive option, despite her kind of being leaning more towards the supportive unit for me. But yeah, Afro is super cool. She's got the 5 range, the fabled 5 range. I feel like every unit that gets 5 range is like so much to consider now, because the fact that like being able to move is like super strong in this game. Like especially when you have like things that like frosty tiles or things like that, or like fiery tiles. Like just the ability to like get where you need to, just like whenever you need to, is just so strong. And Afra has that going for her. I think it's such a big part of it. Yeah, so there's a lot going on here. I don't know if I'm ever going to like put in another ascension skill for Afra here. I've not added an ascension skill for her, but like I feel like her central skill isn't really worth it, which I think right now she only has one, which is the stone, yeah, steadfast stone. Just because like even if she's getting hit, she's already like tanky enough where it's not gonna matter if she's getting hit by piercing damage, right? So that's where we are with Afra. Yeah, I think she's an awesome unit. I really do appreciate that I did get her to rank 5. It's so noticeable. It's so, like I really want to get Afra on my alternate account. I haven't quite hit her yet, but like we did get Samantha, and we did get we still do have Inanna just from like the event when we started the alt account. Just like not hitting Afra is kind of sad. Like I really do want to wish I could replicate my main team on that account because Afra's just so good. I'm definitely one of those people who will die saying on this hill that like Afra is like also like a probably one of the top tier units. People probably won't agree with me there. That's probably a hot take, but I do enjoy Afra. Okay, and last but not least, let's go over our gal Samantha. And there is so much to say about Samantha. So who is Samantha? Who is Samantha? Samantha Everglow, once upon a time, was this meek, maybe chapel tender. You know, she would take care of all the children. She would ensure that everyone's safe. I guess to some extent she still is. But now she's a little more aggressive, right? She protect, but now she definitely attack a little bit more. She's definitely one of those offensive units that can, I guess, masquerade as sort of a supportive unit at times, especially when you consider some of the abilities that she has and what they do. But I think generally she's definitely a long-range AoE damage dealing unit that also is a Watcher, which is notably strong because Watchers don't have any weaknesses and they are strong against Destroyers. Notably, I feel like Destroyers and Watcher paradigm in Sword of Convallaria suggest that like if you have a Destroyer, you should definitely be careful of Watchers because Watchers do tend to be more utility based. But when it comes to Samantha, she is a offensive Watcher, and so she's got no weaknesses, but she does have a super strong strength, and she's super effective at Destroyers. So when it comes to PvP, I feel like that's the only time it really matters, where like people are using things such as like kvare or like these Destroyers that like doing high crazy damage. One of the things about the Watchers is like I guess they also resist sort of Destroyers in that sense. So yeah, this is super strong of a role in my opinion for Samantha. On top of that, she also has the added benefit of buffing some of the units around her with her trait. So once she does additional damage with her ability, she also has a way to deal more damage at the end of her turn by proccing her Judgment Brand. But just before the end of the turn, she also grants Radiant Watch, and Radiant Watch basically gives units the ability to dispel one buff at the end of the turn, and they get Radiant Blessing. And the Radiant Blessing has the benefit of restoring 30% HP, 30% of the caster's magic attack, which can stack up to 2 times, and removes one stack after triggering once they're dealt damage. So all of this comes to say that like for every sort of ability that Samantha uses, she basically has the added benefit of dispelling a debuff on top of healing units around her whenever they're dealt damage. So this comes of sort of like a Inanna in a sense, where she's offensive, but she also has a lot of supportive capabilities. And all this on top of the fact that a lot of her abilities are like super ranged. Like she has insane range on her abilities. Like I think her lowest range ability, it might just be her auto attack. And I think that's like, let's see, I think that's like 3 to 4 range. Yeah, that's 3 to 4 range, which is kind of insane to think about. So yeah, she's got a lot going just for her passive. On top of that, it's like because she can stack her passive, like it only gets stronger whenever you're able to like run more units that are just like Papal or Aggression, right? Those are the ones that align up with her tribal bonus, right? So for all Aggression and Papal State allies before attacking with a class seal inflicts Judgment Brand. So those are also, and also mind you, Judgment Brand triggers before an attack is inflicted with Samantha. So she's always triggering at least the additional 10% damage upon her already current damage, which is kind of misleading because like you think of for some of her attacks, like her auto attack, it is 3 times 23%, right? So that's like, you're thinking about, it's like, okay, it's like 69% damage, right? But also accounting for her Judgment Brand, this is actually dealing an additional 10% damage. Actually another 15% damage, right? Because her Judgment Brand deals allows you to do additional 10%, just increased damage overall, and then additional 5% from AoE. So 69% plus you're doing that at 15%, so it's a nice healthy like 85-ish%. Pretty good, right, for an auto attack. And on top of that, the auto attack is also like a bona fide AoE unit. And the funny thing about this is, I feel like back in the day, not too far ago, I was like, wait, why is Anana's ability considered AoE? I'm like, it's single target, but like, why is it considered AoE? And I play Anana, and I'm like, okay, it's single target, and like no damage being dealt to units around the people I'm targeting with her. But it's not the case with Samantha. Like, Samantha actually is doing AoE with her auto attack, which is kind of insane. Because I feel like it's part of that like low-key power creep that people do talk about. Because like this is like kind of wild with the range, and you can say like, oh, okay, well it's got to be bound between the 3 to 4 range. But honestly, it doesn't matter too much, especially when the fact that like a lot of her other abilities definitely goes to push her in a way such that like she's definitely just more of a ranged unit where she doesn't get punished too much, because she has ways to like keeping units at bay like really hard. But I guess in context of like most of the game, which is like PvE, that doesn't matter. But like it's super egregious, showing that like, yeah, she is doing so much at range. Like it's kind of insane not to have her on a team, especially when like, you go for like a team that's kind of basic stereotypical like tank with like your backline. Like it definitely goes to show that like you definitely should go about getting Samantha and using her as like a ranged DPS unit, because she has so much to offer. I only say it because like she does have like some skills that do kind of like hint at being more supportive. For example, you can go something like Chain of Regeneration. Actually kind of wild if you go with something like that. I don't know why you would do that, but you could do something like that. She also has like Prayer of Devotion, which does give her the extra benefit of like triggering her passive a little more frequently. I guess more easily, on top of like giving her units around her a little more buffs. But like, yeah, you definitely want to go more offensive with her, which actually kind of brought me to like, I guess, picking the left side reaction skill for Samantha, because the energy recovery for Samantha probably shouldn't be proccing too much. And so, like you can definitely see like I did accidentally pick that, but like if you're in a position where like Samantha is constantly being hit, you're probably not positioning Samantha correctly. And so she probably shouldn't be hitting it too much. And so generally I think Protection of Light is probably going to be the best pick for her. But yeah, so like she's really strong here. And that's just like going over her basic attack and her trait. So these alone, if you can get like 2 units with just her basic attack, like you are living really nicely here. So going over her other skills, she has Judgment Sanctum. So this is the ability, and we could just play in a game. This is like the ability to dispel a few buffs, and then also enforce a alert status for your units. So let's just like run this in Odyssey, and like luckily enough, it looks like we do have a Watcher Odyssey here. So I can just play it here. So like this ability, Judgment Sanctum, dispels some buffs, which by itself is like fine, but also it does trigger a forced alert with crazy range. I just feel like the forced alert here, at least with Samantha, is just like not needed too much. Like, okay, maybe it's not the best way of like showing this. Probably should remove a lot of these units from the team. Like the forced alert is kind of wild and pretty egregious, just because of the fact that like it stops the enemy's turn. And like for a unit that already does so much at range, like stopping the enemy's turn is just like so wild, just because it's definitely not needed, right? You need to have some reason to keep her weak, I feel like. Otherwise like the tides are so high. So let's say we definitely need someone like a Terror to show this off. We could do something like, honestly, I bet like we could probably solo this if we had someone like, not solo, but like we had something like Aisha, Terror. I don't know if they're about, okay, they've got some stuff on them. Yeah, I feel like you definitely want, I feel like I definitely wanted to see something that would like give some weakness to Samantha, but like I definitely don't get that vibe from her. It's just like even the fact that she's slow does mean that like you can basically set up a little better with her. Okay, here we go. Because like units can just like end up buffing her, and then like she gets to go, and then like you're chilling. Okay, so yeah, like we just do this here. Judgment Sanctum. So this grants Radiant Watch, and with the Radiant Watch, it does give units around her that like Radiant Watch buff, right? So at the end of the turn, it dispels one deep buff, and they also get Radiant Shine. And the Radiant Shine is that one buff that we saw where they have the, let's see, wait, where's it? Where does it show? Where does it show Radiant Shine? Okay, Radiant Shine is actually Glurstone. I think they mistranslated it. So yeah, when they take damage, they basically heal a bit. So basically, it means when you do any of like the attacks from Samantha, your front line is gonna basically be nice and healed up, right? So super strong, and they also dispel. Yeah, kind of crazy. And then you also have this other ability called Oath to End All Evil. This is a also 5-ranged passive, not passive, 5-ranged AoE unit ability that reduces the damage by 30% per unit hit. But I feel like this one is I kind of like the way this is built, just because it does mean like if you want to do crazy damage, you do need to sort of isolate the units. It also dispels buffs and increases and also like adds more Radiant Watch to your team, so ensures like your team is nice and buffed up, I guess. But like this is also like a pretty fine skill. I'm not much to say about this one. I kind of do like the way this is designed a little bit more, if not for the ratios being a little too high, but like it looks cool too. Yeah, see, this is kind of wild. Kind of wild there. Ooh, oh, hopefully don't die. There we go. Yeah, so that's like Samantha in a nutshell. I feel like those are the basic abilities I use for her. Oath End All Evil, Judgment Sanctum, and then I'll probably swap here and there between like the long range 3x6 attack and the Fire Purification. It kind of just like depends on the map. The Fire Purification I feel like is stronger in some cases when you're playing against the boss. Otherwise, you're probably just better off using Light of Judgment for all sins. But mind you, this name is like also incredibly long for like an attack name. I'm just like, geez, that is a long attack name. And also it's good to point out that like these are all stronger than what they appear to be, right? Because these are all AoE attacks that deal more damage based on also applying Judgment Brand from her passive. So like when you're thinking of like this attack, Fire Purification, or you're thinking of something like Judgment Sanctum, this is like, not Judgment Sanctum, Oath to End All Evil. This is 220% plus the additional 10% here, so 230 plus additional 5, so 235. And like, yeah, just like over the span of the game, like these numbers just add up, just like showing like how wild it is. Because basically what that means is if units are hitting around 9k health, or like if they're hitting under maybe about like 4k health, basically what it means is like you need 2 attacks just from like Samantha, or at least you need like one single attack from like an Oath End All Evil, just to, like one shot that unit, which like basically just makes things like super trivial if like the ratios are that high, in my opinion. But yeah, like it definitely goes to show like, yeah, these units are insanely strong. They're insanely strong, which is like a little concerning, because I'm just like, I really do hope this is like where the units start to cap out, because I kind of wish I could play a combo and like still like feel kind of good about myself, like, oh, this unit does have like some purpose. But I'm just like, well, if I actually want to play a supportive damage dealer, I can honestly just play the best units in the game, and like they're also being supportive damage dealers, but also not being destroyers. And this is like me kind of ranting a little bit here, but like the fact that they made Samantha a Watcher 2 kind of got me. I don't know if it's because, and I guess it's not the case, because if you look at like Safia, SP Safia is a Watcher, right? So like they don't have to be the same role as their previous units, and it's just like if you're making more of a damage dealer, I feel like you should make them have more of a weakness. I feel like they should have delegated the Watcher role to be definitely more utility based, or definitely keep the Watcher role more for like ranged archer bow users. That way they have like some shine or like or some reason to play the bow users. Because right now it just feels like you kind of just go with all the AoE damage dealer units, and then like that's just how you play it. But yeah, so like that's where I'm at with Samantha. I'm definitely feeling like she's definitely super strong, and it's definitely like indicative of like a real problem with like just the power creep. But in general, that's probably where these games just generally tend to trend. So not like a big deal. For the equips I have on her, like I really do like Samantha. Like I will say, for me being a little sad about how strong she is, I will say like she is definitely one of those units that I was first playing the game with, and I was like, how can I unlock her? Like where can I unlock SP Samantha, or where can I unlock Samantha? Like the Papal Judge Samantha, not like the healer Samantha. Like she's honestly been on my radar for a long time. I'm glad that I can finally play her, but I'm just kind of sad how strong she is because she definitely like I feel like eats up all the other competition out. Okay, so for the right now for the current equips I have on Samantha, I do think she's very energy hungry, and so we do have cornucopia staff. I have slowly been eyeballing whether or not I should put enough resources into the cornucopia staff, just because like if I do want to spam things like fire purification, I don't really have someone like Coco or like Inanna. This is something something I can think about. Also, the cornucopia stuff I think could be useful on some of the other units I'm planning on like playing more with, such as like the epics and the uncommon units where they need energy, and like this is just like a good staff to like get energy with, right? And outside of that, it's like if I do want to play a new unit and they don't have any sort of energy generation, well, the cornucopia staff is like a good way to just like pop onto energy generation for them. So yeah, so thinking about that, it's a hard maybe. The other thing is like if you do buff the cornucopia staff, it is a generic sort of staff that like you don't have to worry about it being unusable. Or like if I do add more, if I do like go hard on like Samantha's signature ability, then I just feel like it has to be used on Samantha, right? They sort of tailor it towards Samantha. So that's my other thought here. I could also just think about putting on a diffusing prism. I think diffusing prism is probably one of the better damage dealing, I guess, staffs that you could play on Samantha, just considering that like she has a lot of AoE magic attack, which is also why I end up putting more stock into Bloodluxite Amulet. And the good thing about, I guess this is like one of the good things about having investing more in Samantha is the fact that like because Bloodluxite Amulet is also part of the same sort of three trinkets as like Bloodluxite Amulet. I don't know if I'll trinket, but three signatures. Like the Bloodluxite Amulet comes with Bloodluxite Amulet or Shield Justice or the what's that one spear, the unyielding armor breaking spear, something like that, the one that Pamina has. So like the odds of getting something really useful just because I'm already investing so much in the Bloodluxite Amulet is just like so high that I'm like kind of grateful that I'm actually going this route with Samantha. Because otherwise you could just, I feel like, end up going with the Origin Hourglass, which could have some benefit considering like if you are running the fire purification, you do need some way to running over these tiles. Like it's like a consideration. But the thing is, if you do end up getting the 5-star Bloodluxite Amulet to the full like 5 stars, this is just going to be doing more damage because all of Samantha's abilities are magic damage and they're all AoE damage, and so you're just going to get so much out of this. And the added benefit is if you do end up getting attacked here and there with Samantha, such that like you are going below dying, which honestly you probably shouldn't, it's just going to do so much insane damage. Like it's going to feel so good, like hitting your dying state and then triggering off a oath to end all evil. It's just gonna feel like you're gonna like, I don't know, do like a self-destruct, like a something crazy. Like it's gonna feel lore accurate, right? So yeah, so that's why I'm going Bloodluxite Amulet, and of course I am a Devil junkie, so of course we went with the Devil Tarot. But that's basically it. Not much else to say for Samantha. I guess to end things off, yeah, I just think she's this very strong unit. I'm very pleased that I did at least get her. I definitely do like playing her. She is. I'm like on the fence with like whether she's fun. I do think it is fun to see her animations for sure. I think honestly the more interesting thing about playing Samantha in my opinion, is like finding ways to, I guess, I don't know, use fire purification, at least for me. Like that's, I don't know why, but like that's like the most interesting thing for me for Samantha. Like the fact that like you just do a bunch of AoE and damage dealing is like cool and all, but like it's just not really interactive in my opinion. It doesn't feel satisfying because it just does so much that it doesn't like point me in a sort of way that I'm just like, oh, if I want to do this, I can just do this, right? It's like if I want to just do anything, I just use Samantha and she just does everything, right? It doesn't like lean towards a particular type of way. But yeah, I think she's really cool. I think I really like her as a unit, and I definitely do plan on getting her to max stars. Okay, cool. Now let's talk about some of the other stuff that we have going on in Sword of Convallaria, which is the good old Terra Whispers. So we've got lots of new Terra Whispers. Let's see, let's go to residuals. I don't know if wait, can I just like check on these? Okay, so we can just check here, like at the tarot cards. Some of these are not new. Like for example, here we have Fool's Naivety. This is honestly, I'm actually super glad that we kind of actually can just like roll for this here instead of like, for the longest time, you've been able to get these. They were just only locked to certain situations that were like not really events, but kind of events. For example, like Clash, you could get all these. But also you can get these, you could have gotten these in the shops. And you would be able to like roll for like the Fool's Naivety. I think the Fool's Naivety is like the strongest one on top of maybe Hierophant's Laws. But like I've been definitely going for Fool's Naivety for a long time just so I get like a really bonkers Coco. Like I'm trying to get my Coco to get like 15k HP. I think she's like really close. Like in game, I'm not sure how much she has, but she has 10k out of game. I say in game because if you don't go in game, I think you don't get some of the added benefits from like the effects, right? I don't think the effects trigger here, so I think she might be at like 12k with the additional effects that she has on her. So yeah, I'm trying to get my Coco big. Like she's trying to be big backed as possible. So get my big back Coco. And this is like not even like the best kind of like, I mean it's close for sure, but like I want to do better. I want this to be 10% HP inside the second slot, and then 9% HP already from the third slot is already pretty close to like max. But like yeah, we're gonna Coco up there. We're getting her up there. So that's the goal here. But honestly, I probably am at the point where I don't really want to roll too much else into that particular Terra residual, just because like I already have my Coco so high, and like the other ones just don't matter too much. Okay, but there's 4 other Terra residuals that we can possibly get that might be of interest. Now, the one reason why you might get these other ones is because of like your combat, because of your loot fee, because of these other units. There's something we said about like the shield value ones too, but I'm not sure if it's honestly better to have the shield value ones or having like a more passively / generically good ones that are outside of like abilities that do create the shields. Like for example, do you want the Guide of Stars over something like the Course of Fortune? Like, is that honestly better? Like the 10% could also just be like a heal. Like if you do roll for the Wheel of Fortune, the 10%, honestly you can't click it here, but the 10% could just be like a heal here. It could be like 10% damage reduction. It could be like an energy. Like I feel like there's so much utility in the Course of Fortune that you could get that just like you kind of leave out if you go for the Guide of Stars. So I'm not quite sure I'm 100% hooked on the Guide of Stars. Maybe it's strong enough. I don't know. I feel like maybe it does. Maybe they did some sort of testing on this. Maybe not. Maybe just like threw a number on there. But like I'm really not feeling like the 8% is really all that worth it. I feel like the same is true for the Hangmans. Like damage over time, but 8%. Like honestly, who's really banking on the 8% damage over time? I will say though, if you do use this damage over time for the 8%, you're probably better off using this only on the boss matches where like the damage over time is probably going to be the majority of like your damage. That, or I would say there's also something said about like if you're applying lots of damage over time, and that's like odds are you're applying a lot of damage over time if it's a boss, 'cause it's like a long boss. But like if you're also loot fee, like applying lots of damage over times could also just make up for the fact that like 8% is actually going to be multiplicative here, not just like a single additive percentage. Where like every sort of damage over time Luffy add is doing, it's going to be like multiplied by 3, right? Because he does for his passives, If he, I think he does at max 4 DOTs at the end of the turn, and so this is basically 8 times 4 in that case. And so if you're thinking about it like that way, where like a single ability is getting basically 32% more damage, it's kind of like, if you're kind of thinking of it like a weird sort of magician, Dream of the Magician, you could kind of eyeball it being like maybe decent over there on Ludwig, but like I feel like you definitely have to stretch it out a bit. You definitely have to like try the numbers out for this. I'm actually kind of curious if anyone's actually done that. I'm pretty sure someone on Reddit will like say something about it if that's the case. But like I feel like this could be, it could be kind of close. It could be kind of close. And I think it really does push it over the corner, over the edge if you are playing against a boss. Where like the bosses will for sure be like taking the extra 8% over the course of like many turns. It's gonna be, you're gonna feel it. Okay, and then we have 2 other heroes here. We have Murmur of Death, and we have the Lover's Intimacy. So Murmur of Death, I feel like, is kind of a similar situation. If you're doing piercing damage, 8% might be strong. I feel like this could be strong in the case of someone like Afra, honestly, where like you can have a wide range of doing piercing damage all at once. For example, if you do something like Calamity of Icefield, and you're hitting like 10 units, this is actually 80% damage. And actually 80% damage, that's a lot. That's a lot. I don't think that's something you can get off of like the other tarots, right? The difference here is that like I think the damage increased tarot buffs from something like Magician, I don't think they apply to piercing damage, and so that's why you have to have something like this as the alternative. And so like because that's the case, like this is kind of like where you have to go, and where you have to like, if you're trying to do piercing damage, a lot of piercing damage is like where you have to kind of use the baseline. But like the thing here is, if you want to sort of like compare kind of consistently across sort of like types of abilities, you have to basically think about it like if you have like an AoE attack, and like one is dealing piercing damage and one is dealing just magic damage, like how would they compare? Of course, piercing damage might be, depending on like what it is, the piercing damage might be better just because it's dealing piercing, it's not affected by defense. Like that's kind of where you get to think about this. Is like, honestly, are you doing more damage with the 8%, or are you better off just like increasing damage from your magic attack? I don't know. I actually don't know. It probably is case by case, but like people that could use this is something like kvare, probably. Luffy can't use this, but I think Afra could use this. Who else could use this? I feel like that's on top of my head. Those are the only ones I'm usually using myself. So I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it, but I could be mistaken. I feel like this is like one of those cases where like it has to do AoE piercing damage for it to be worth it. Otherwise, you're probably better off using the other tarots here. Then we have Lover's Intimacy, reduces piercing damage taken by 8% at the start of the turn, dispels 1 damage over time from the character. This one is kind of interesting because I don't know who would use this. Like, what stage would you use this? This does feel like one of those cases where they saw that it wasn't doing too much, and so they had to sort of tack on another additional effect to this ability. I don't know if it's good. I don't know. Like, maybe if it, instead of having like reduced piercing damage and also dispelled 1 dot, maybe if it had like healed 8% health or something, maybe. And even in that case, I think if you did that, it would still not be as good as something like the Gibbous Moon, where it's like heal 20% of your health. Healing 8% health would still be probably not that good, but depending on like the match you're fighting, like piercing damage might also be like just enough to push it over the edge, like playability wise. Yeah, I'm just like not feeling if like these are that good. The only thing I could see like being maybe good is like the Hangman's Dedication or the Murmur of Death. The other thing that could be good is if you do have strong shielder that's like putting in a bunch of shields, which honestly, can they get it now? Phelan, right? Phelan, she does like the AoE shielding. This could be good for that. Phelan or someone like I don't know. This is too in the weeds. Like Phelan or Karis, maybe for the shield value. Like you're probably not playing cars for shields though, right? So maybe it's not not worth it. I'm also like not sure exactly on like what their special bonus effects are. I'm assuming their bonus effects might be like doubling the effect. Still probably not gonna make it too. Actually, maybe it'll make it good for the DOT. Especially for Ludwig, like DOT might be crazy if that is the case. Which honestly, maybe we can try. Maybe we can try boosting those up because we do have a few of those tarots here. Let's see. So if we go to Ludwig, right now we do have a just Temptation of the Devil on him. But let's try like boosting some of these tarots here, seeing like what they do. Okay, so let's try Murmur of Death. What does Murmur of Death do? Come on. Okay, not that. Okay, that was a dud. Particularly bad. Okay. Okay, additionally increase piercing damage by 5% when attacking dying enemies. Additionally increase piercing damage by 5%. Okay, honestly, this is actually a little better than just double, right? I mean, it does the additional 5% piercing damage when attacking enemies. Additionally deals... Okay, so it's like extra 10%? Potentially. Little less than double. A little less than double, right? I guess depending on the situation. If you're attacking a dying enemy, it does more than double. If you're not, it does less than double. It's not too bad. Not too bad. I feel like if you're playing this kvare though, you're already like slaughtering them. Like if they're dying, I guess that's the case, right? You play with the kvare, you just help finish up units. I guess this is like pretty good for kvare, right? I'm still not completely feeling it, but maybe we keep this. It is a magic attack one, so we can keep this for like testing cases or something. Okay, now that we have Hangman's Dedication. Let's see. Can we roll luckily here? Physical attack. We did not get lucky here. We might have to roll for that. But before we do that, let's just like check on the other ones, see if we can get lucky with them. So Lover's Intimacy. And honestly, I will say I like doing this view over the Vulcan hands. I feel like in the Vulcan hands, you really don't have a good time of like nicely moving to like the other, updating like the other tarots. That's just my feel anyways. I feel like if you're rolling for Lover's Intimacy, you definitely want to roll for more defensive stats too. Okay, not too good. Not too good. I do enjoy the art for the Lover's Intimacy though. Okay, here we go. Additionally, reduce piercing damage to 8%. That's our turn. Additionally, dispels one dot from the character. Okay, so it basically doubles it and passes it on. Doubles it and passes it on. I don't know if that's not the weird way of saying it, but okay, that's like whatever. It's like whatever. Okay. So I think we're just missing... I think we're missing the shield value one. And we're missing... the dot one, right? Dot and shield value. Which honestly is going to be hard to like get. But also, we haven't even finished this. We could actually just like clear this up now. I'm thinking we have just enough time to finish this. Okay. So at least we have to like show off some of the team, I guess. We can just go like this is actually the basic team. This is the team already. So we got Samantha, Inanna, Maitha, with Coco. Here, it definitely feels like I don't really need support Afro here. Because Maitha and Coco are already like doing so much here. We could move this Coco. I'm like, should I keep the healing on Coco? I'm sorry, on Afra. Maybe not needed. Maybe it's not needed, but it's probably fine. Like we do definitely want debuffs, and like without Afra, we don't have the debuffs. So like maybe this is fine to have. Put it on this side just because we want Samantha to get all of her energy. I think this is good. I think we're chilling. Okay. Do some crazy damage. Alright, start the assisting cover here. I kind of want to get Samantha, ensuring she's got enough energy here. She got 3 energy. Let's give her 4. All right. She doesn't have the best. I mean, yeah, Samantha doesn't have like the best movement here. We probably want to do a light of Convallaria, just get her up there. Now we could use March Command, but I don't know if I want to use it now. Like for example, we could just like oh wait, that was a mistake. You're not supposed to call of freedom on freaking Samantha. I'm sorry, Inanna. We could do that. Light of Convallaria. Move Miss Convallaria up. Try to get everyone under co-attack, co-defense. And then try to like break through this dude's shields. This is a little risky if I put her up here though. Like also hitting 2 units here, probably not the worst. Yeah, absolutely destroys here. Mind you, we still are on like we still have like a few more, I think, stages to go with this before we actually get like the hardest of the stages. Like absolutely devastating. Enemy team is in shambles this one. Actually, the fact that we can just like one-shot with actually we didn't one-shot, but like we can do so much damage there with like a small auto attack from Afra is like kind of wild. Because her auto attack only do 50% damage. Let's see. Samantha, she's got some stars. Yeah, probably pot up on Inanna. There's a world of peace. Okay. Yeah, this is fine. Fire purification. I think we're ready to just like, oh no, we're 1 turn away from doing anything crazy with Afra here. When I say crazy, I just mean like putting them to sleep again, I guess. I mean, honestly, we probably could have done this a little bit quicker by just like placing. Actually, probably just do it now. Just by like placing a flag here, reduce some of our cooldowns. Here we go. Samantha already is super energized up here. I guess we would really just care about seeing if we can like kill people with autos, maybe. And maybe that's like also viable. Yeah, geez. Just remember, like I feel like we were at 0 energy, and now we're at 4. So much energy. There we go. I think we auto this one now. There we go. Easy clap. Actually never tested out how much damage Samantha's actually doing. Oh wait, I actually do have to control this. Otherwise, these units will just not. They'll do everything besides end the game. They will take their sweet time. Alright, cool. But yeah, honestly, that's like a pretty simple match. But yeah, just look at this. Notice how like we were doing crazy damage with Inanna when she first came out, and just like I always feel like I'm seeing Samantha doing leagues above above Inanna now. Part of that might just be because Inanna also is providing like the extra turn for other units because she's at 5 stars. It's just kind of crazy seeing that. It's just like the tides of damage are always increasing. Okay, so this might be a little bit harder. I'm actually not sure how much harder it'll be. I think it's probably still fine to keep things as is. Maybe we can put in on the center. I think it would be better to... I think it's fine. I think that's fine. Okay. Do this. Yeah, we probably can like go over how much debuffs we're adding here too. Like, look at this. Let's look at this. How many debuffs? That's 1 attack, by the way. Piercing, 2, vulnerable, 2, sleep, crit down, labyrinth of dreams, nightmare, attack down, nightmare puppet 3. It's just so much happening here. Maybe it's not that much either. Like, I like seeing how much my Afra's doing. I like to see her putting in that work. Me hoping to tell people that, like, yeah, Afra's good. Look how many debuffs she's adding. Okay. And pot stew. Here we go. I'm gonna get rid of this dude in front here. Jeez, those magic shields are crazy. Jeez. 34k damage. Mind you, if we ever take 34k damage, like, our unit has been one shot. They're not surviving. Honestly, probably just like push Samantha here. Only doing that because we definitely want to get rid of this fire generator thing here. And so basically doing this does mean we can like pop it before it spreads too much fire. Like, it's gonna be annoying for our units. Oh, we did not pop it. Quite unfortunate. Also not the biggest deal. Actually, no, we should be able to pop it, right? Still, the last attack from oh no, it doesn't hit that. Sure. Just hit that. Stand by. And I guess we can just heal up here for Afra. Okay. It's a little scary about what this calamity might do. But maybe I shouldn't be too scared. Wait, what? I guess they revived. Okay. Fire purification. $8k damage for a single attack. Okay, yeah, this is not doing anything. It's like not even worth attacking Maitha. Jeez, that was a clap if I've ever seen one. I don't know why they did that so that did so much damage. Let's just make sure we clover up here. So do that. Do we need to give energy? Let's see. Samantha's at 4. So I think we're just fine with like trying to clear this dude. Ooh. Wait, should we have tried to kept her alive? Like if I did this do much? Like, does it keep Coco alive? It does not keep her alive. Wait, I imagine she stays alive if we, like, plop this down. We probably didn't need the clover. Just, like, heal up. Like this? Wait, can I just kill this dude? No, he's got so much magic shield. What if we just did this? Does line of sight impact him? Fingers crossed. Jeez, we almost murdered that person. Okay, and then that, yeah, okay, that now we're good. Now we're chilling. Easy peasy. Easy clap. Alright, okay, they're doing a little closer. Not leagues, but like they're still relatively close enough. Yeah, I mean it's good showing. Good showing. Alright, and then that's Tarot Residual 9. I think that's what that is. We are done. We've done all the tarots. We've done all the events. So, thank y'all for watching. We'll do some more in the future. I'll catch y'all later.